Vehicular Entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Good morning. Test Miles on the air. I'm Nick Miles, and yes, the double clap from the golf clap from the in-studio audience. Brad is just tapping his fingers together.
It's the beatnik thing.
Is it? Oh, you're clicking your fingers together?
Yeah.
Especially for Portland. Sean, Brad, Andrew, and myself here this morning. A packed show for you this morning. We've been doing lots this week. I have been in Montreal, Canada, in Indianapolis, doing several different car things. We also have some interesting test cars this week, and we get to talk to special guests. We're going to be talking to somebody from GM momentarily, and also somebody from Kia. It's actually, I should say, from Buick. You're never supposed to mention, I learned this, you're never supposed to mention that General Motors, it's always you have to talk about the individual brands, and as we know, there are 4 brands of General Motors.
There is?
Does anyone know what they are?
Ford.
No.
Chrysler.
No, stop it, you guys. You're going to get a slap. I'm going to eject you from the building.
Fiat.
No, what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out who the 4 are.
It's
Buick, Kia. Oh, my God.
Buick,
I was about to
Kia?
say
What?
Kia.
See?
No, it's Buick, Cadillac, GMC, and Chevy.
Yes.
I thought GMC
And soon to be Tesla.
Well, that's the rumor.
There we
The
go.
rumor is that in 2004, actually, I said the rumor is a financial analyst on one of the financial networks said that they're expecting General Motors to attempt to buy Tesla this year, but that remains to be seen. I think somebody needs to buy Tesla. There's plenty of things there that should be brought into the fold.
I'll buy it.
All right, go.
Do they take a pre-dated check?
No, yeah, predated check.
Because I'll
Post-dated
put
check.
That too.
Yeah, all right. So I spent the last week in Canada. I flew from Portland to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York and then up to Montreal. And despite the English's trouble with the French, I was okay there for a few days. We have 18 wars against the French, by the way, and we've won 17.
Did you? That's a pretty good record.
Except for the one that we didn't win.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was 1066, and they shot our king in the eye, and yeah.
What?
I'm almost over it.
Don't the French just give up anyways? So, I mean, that's not a hard fight to win.
Ooh, be careful now. You might not get out of the building alive. Somebody's going to come and garrote you.
Not worried.
So I spent my week up there in the snow, and I had a lot of fun driving cars. Do we have our guest on the phone?
I believe he is on the phone. Let me get him on.
Nick, are you with us, Nick? Can you hear me?
I can.
Good morning, Nick Richards from Buick. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
You extended an invitation to me to spend some time with you in Montreal. Why did we go up to Montreal, by the way?
We went up there to test the new Regal all-wheel drive system, and what better way to guarantee snow than to head to the Great White North?
Yeah, I will tell you that I have been on several programs in the last 2 years where car companies took us to different places to drive snow, and there was no snow. So you guys did it well.
Well, hold on now, Nick. Maybe you can help me. Both of you, Nicks. I have to clear something up real quick though, because I was privy to some information. Nick, I saw a new video that surfaced on the World Wide Web, the internet. Our wonderful host of the show, Test Miles, Nick Miles over here. Nick, do you mind elaborating on what a snow bank and an icy road test drive is?
the video.
Yeah, so if you don't mind elaborating what a snow bank and an ice field have in common, that would be great for all of our listeners here. Mr. Nick Miles?
Yes, Nick Richards will probably support me on this. I drove across a snow bridge on the Ottawa River, and I think it was the Ottawa River, wasn't it, Nick?
Yeah, it was.
And I plowed the Buick Regal all-wheel drive off the road into a snowbank and had to be dug out by another TV crew.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's professional driver Nick Miles.
How did you see that?
On YouTube, and I hit play. And I saw the most comedic few minutes of my life. Nick over here trying to make sense of an ice field, and oh my gosh, there's snow.
Did I damage your car, Mr. Richards?
Not that one.
Not that one, but maybe the other one. They handled pretty well. So we, I don't know if anybody knows what an ice bridge is, but basically what happens is when it's so cold up in Montreal that the rivers and the lakes freeze, and you get to where there's normally a ferry, you get to drive across them the ice. So they call it a snow bridge, an ice bridge, and you drive across the ice. And on one of the bridges, Nick and his team were good enough to tell us that, hey, get onto the ice bridge and do what you will, have some good times. I had a little bit too much of a good time, and I was like drifting the car across the bridge, and I drifted it and didn't manage to correct in time. There was a tripod in the middle of the bridge from another film crew, and trying to avoid it.
Oh, well,
Kaboom!
In your defense, yes, the tripod, please. Let's keep that up and going. Yeah, Nick, I really wish I was there with you so I could have saw this, because I'm still laughing about it, and if I would have saw it live, I probably would have freaked out.
No, I think plenty of people freaked out. I had an engineer from Buick in the car, and I would say that his muscle tone went up about 50 degrees as we came towards the snowbank. It was like, whoa, 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 boom.
Nice.
So, Nick, tell me a little bit about the 2014 Buick Regal all-wheel drive.
Well, the Regal was redesigned for 2014, updated the exterior and interior, a lot of additional technology. And as you got to experience the new all-wheel drive system, which we think really adds a lot of value to consumers and people who are looking for an all-wheel drive sedan.
It kind of opens up the rest of the country to you, isn't it? Because everything above the Mason-Dixon line now wants an all-wheel drive, because they suffer from snow throughout the year, and now they have the opportunity to have that all-wheel drive. So does that mean you're going to sell more cars?
Well, I think that's the intent. We know that there's a lot of consumers that won't shop for anything other than an all-wheel drive vehicle. So this gets us into the consideration list, and then after that, it's our job to show them what a good car it is. And it's beyond just consumers in the snow belts. In the GS, I think you had a chance to experience earlier in the year. That system is kind of designed to handle just low friction surfaces. So it could be a wet road, or it could be just a banking turn, and that will give you the ability to put power to the rear and give you more control coming out of that corner.
I'll tell you a couple of things. I want to talk about GM in a second. I want to talk about Buick in a second, just as a brand, but a couple of things about the car which are interesting. First of all, I've always seen Buick as kind of more an older, sedately brand until I actually went on this drive. And now I really, really like these vehicles. Not only do they look good from the outside now, but the insides are exactly what I want in a vehicle. It's hard to measure it against other all-wheel drives, but definitely if you turn the all-wheel drive systems off, which we did on the autocross, it is so different. It's so different. It's an amazing change between what you can drive and what you can do and what you can't do. Even trying to go around that autocross, especially in the hairpin turn, which I did, you take off that system and you're absolutely out of control. So the all-wheel drive is great. But Nick, let's talk about Buick as a whole, as a company. You've had some big successes in the last year, haven't you?
Yeah, the last 4 years have been really strong for us. Every year has been up year over year. In 2013, we ended up sales finishing the year
14%,
at our highest level
I think
since
it was.
2005.
Yeah, 14% up, and that's amazing for you guys. Plus, the figure that comes to my mind, which I think is amazing, is 43% of people that getting into a Buick are coming from outside General Motors, and that's huge for you. Now, it really means you're opening up to a new audience. Who's this car made for? Who's buying the Regal GS all-wheel drive?
The Regal, right now we're seeing the youngest customer purchase the Regal, so we're averaging mid-40s. It tends to skew a little bit more heavily male. Good household income, tends to be an import shopper. So all the demographics and boxes you really want to check when you're bringing a new vehicle to market.
And I also want to talk about, Brad. You had some figures about people who were buying vehicles for technology, didn't you?
Yeah, the number that we researched is 39% of the people, their number one decision-making topic is the in-car technology. And I know Buick's
Buick's right there. So
way up there.
Tell us a little bit about the safety systems that you guys have put on this car, Nick.
Well, we've got what we consider to be 360 degrees of safety. So you've got things like forward collision alert that will alert you to an imminent crash or things ahead of you. You got the rear vision camera and cross traffic alert. So think about backing out of a parking spot at your mall and having traffic come down the lane, come down the aisle and really surprise you and have to jump on the brake with that cross traffic alert that warns you in advance of that car coming, so you can be prepared for it.
Awesome. I really like it. Thank you for inviting me to Canada, and thanks for joining us this morning on Test Miles.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Nick, we'll see you again soon. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101. I'm Nick Miles. We will be back in a moment with more car stuff. Thanks to Nick Richards from Buick, and you can get an encore of that interview at testmiles.com.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Sunday morning on Test Miles, FM News 101, KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and we're talking car stuff. Just had Nick Richards on from Buick talking about the new Buick Regal all-wheel drive 2014, the first year that they've introduced an all-wheel drive version. Also, knowing that these four-cylinder engines are all turbo now, which is really great. The quality of these cars has come up quite a bit, hasn't it, Brad?
It has, and the perception is that Buick's down at the bottom, but they're actually way at the top.
Yeah, they are. They were known as the Doctor's brand originally because they were sort of a little bit luxury, a little bit rock and roll. But
so what's their competitor? Is it a Volvo at this point?
No,
like
they
on
actually
that all-wheel drive?
outsold last year. Buick outsold Infiniti, Lexus, Audi, and somebody else who I can't remember. I think it was Acura. Those four, they outsold them last year. So Buick's on the up and up, and the interior, the quality is really. I really, really do like these vehicles. They're definitely the sort of car that I would drive as an everyday driver.
My dad was a big Buick guy. He owned like 4 of them. My favorite was the 70 Grand Sport with 455. So
my favorite was the 1901. we used to run it on fuel from horse manure.
They need to bring back that muscle car.
The Buick muscle car. The
That's
very
right.
first here, this is the last thing on Buick before we move on, but the very first concept car was a 1936 Buick. They were the guys that came up with a concept car.
I was not at that launch.
Lies. All lies. Sean, you've been in the Nissan Rogue this week, haven't you?
Yeah, and I have been in the Nissan Rogue. The Rogue's the 5th out of the 6 redesigned for Nissan this year, are in 2013-14. Also, the Rogue was Kelley Blue Book's best SUV under 25 and best 12 best family cars of this year. So
they made quite an impact. I was at home last night with my parents who just dropped around. They're looking for a house to buy around my area, and the Nissan Rogue drove into the driveway when my parents were looking out the window, and my mom said, "Oh, that's a pretty car." I was like, "All right, Mom, get your checkbook out. We'll buy you one."
it's a great drive, but to me, the styling's a little boring. I was at Costco's and I lost it in the sea of CUVs. I could not find the car. It just boring.
I would disagree on the front end. I think the front end looks really good. I think the daytime running lights look really good. They look much better than it has done in the past. But I do think, compared to some of the Korean brands, the interior is a little bit outdated.
A little bit. It has great technology and the all-wheel drive system, but yeah, it's just the model we had was cloth interior, and it had maybe I think it was a 6-inch navigation screen.
Right.
Nothing exciting to look at.
But they do
inside.
have that around camera view system, right? Andy, you experienced that when I was backing up yesterday. You can see around the car.
It was crazy. It was a live image of satellite production. It took a picture of us. I stuck my hand out the window, and it worked. It takes a real-time GPS tracking.
I have to tell you, that
everything.
This is I kind of screwed with you a little bit because I told you it was a satellite view of the car.
Yeah.
Because that's what my friend Tim Gallagher at Nissan always tells people.
Oh, well, come on, Nick.
The actual cameras are embedded in the mirrors. It's not a
Are
satellite
you kidding me?
view.
You really sold
So-
that story. I really thought we were up. Then what was the hand out the window thing?
The cameras are so well put together that you can stick your hand out the window and actually see your hand in the car. But it has a little image of the car, and you can see 360 degrees around the car when you park it and the backup camera. Sorry, buddy.
You know what, Nick?
My favorite thing I love to do to Andy is I like to stand in the driveway. He says, "This car actually listens to you," and I'll go, "Car start," and the car will start. And he's like, "That's amazing." And he'll do it, and the car will start. And I said, "Really, I have a key in my pocket with the automatic start in it."
So
see,
was he the kid in the Volkswagen commeral dressed up as Darth Vader?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that really him?
That's
Yes,
exactly who Andy
I was.
is.
I'm not much taller than that, and that it was me. And I wondered, you were screwing with me a little bit more last night too, huh? Because the seat warmers were way too serious in that car.
I told him, I said I could make you feel I can make you feel something. We were in the Hyundai Santa Fe, and I can make you feel something by just mentioning to you, now you're going to be too cold. And he's like, I do feel a little cold. And now you're going to be too hot. And I'm just changing the seat warmer from cold to hot. And he's like, wow, dude, my backside is on fire.
Nick, I really was thinking about calling someone and saying my friend Nick knows how to do stuff and you don't. And it was
I thought it was the power of suggestion.
It was horrible, Nick. I don't understand who you
He
think
did work
you
it
are.
out after a while, though. Then again, that's why I have a big bruise on my right arm. Talking about this Hyundai Santa Fe, Hyundai have this new Blue Link system. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but basically your whole car can be interactive with your cell phone and with your desktop. You can find out everything about the car, where it's going, and also it can direct you to the lowest price gas station. Now, their Blue Link system is really an interactive system that goes in the car, and lots of companies are putting this in, but I love the fact that Hyundai did something completely different with the Blue Link system. Apart from the fact that this is the second generation, so it's like Blue Link 2.0, the first generation, if you had Blue Link in your car that didn't do as much, as a gift to you, Hyundai updated the system. They flipped a switch a few weeks ago and basically updated the system. So now everybody gets the 2.0 Blue Link in their car if you have Blue Link. The best part about it is now it's interfaced with Google. So all you have to do is say things to your car, and it works the same as your Android cell phone or Siri would on your cell phone. You can say things like, Google, find me Bollywood Theater restaurant, and it will go to Google and search it, and then use Google Maps and send you directly to that. And this interface is now, the car has become so much more like your cell phone.
So you really can now just talk to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You just
If
press
it
the button.
understands your accent.
Well, that's, here's that issue. We talked about that a little bit off air, but the issue always being that I have a hard time with these vehicles understanding me. And I'll say things.
As do we all.
Yes, as do we all. I'll say things to the vehicle, and a perfect example is take me to the Bollywood Theater restaurant, and it will go tuning to satellite 127, or those sort of things. Now, I don't know. People have had problems with talking to their cars in the past. They haven't been very good, but I have that added extra problem. Have you guys been in cars that you can actually talk to and they do respond?
I'm just into the Kia, and they've upgraded their Uvo system, and it actually has taken me to the movie theater that I wanted to go to rather than the bowling alley or something.
Right, and that system has always been a bit lacking in cars, but now, especially with that Blue Link system, talking to Google, I use voice to text on my phone all the time, and Sean does as well.
I hate the voice to text because it just comes out nothing when I'm saying.
Well, you have a hard time getting words out anyway, don't you? And then you add in voice to text and the autocorrect, and you're in real trouble.
Yeah, and then my problem is I just never proofread. I just always say, no, it should work, and send. And it's came back to bite me I don't know how many times.
In the backside.
Yeah.
You were going to say the A word. You can't say that.
I
on the radio.
wasn't. I know better.
Don't we have to be a little realistic with our expectations of the commands? Because I asked it to find me a place to take a nap, and it didn't help at all.
Don't you just nap when we drive you in the car anyway?
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, I was trying to see if I can find a place to find a nap.
We actually may have found a resolution, by the way, of getting you to drive a vehicle.
No, what? Serious?
Yeah. So if those regular listeners to the show remember, Andrew doesn't have a driver's license, and we are working on giving him a driver's license.
Yeah, I need to get that because I'm 32 and I don't have it, so I should probably figure it out.
All right. We'll have some more news on that coming up. Are you ready to learn to drive?
I mean, I need to do it. I'm 99% independent, and I need that one last percent because I'd really like to be able just to go out and do what I want, but I can't, so I won't. But I have to figure that part out. I've tried to get my girlfriend to help me, but she's busy and I can't get in the car. I'm afraid I'm going to break her car.
Well, one of the things we want to do is, and I think it's really important, I push this, but I don't know, everyone agrees with me, you should learn to drive a manual.
Yeah, that's the manly way to do it. I'll
All
do
right.
that.
You listen to Test Miles. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Well, good morning. Good Sunday morning to you. Test Miles, everything that you could possibly want to know about cars, especially new cars. And there is a brand new Kia. It's the new Kia flagship for the Kia family. Kia is a challenger brand, and one of the things that they've always done is try to change what people think about cars in as a whole. I do remember the very first Kia that really made the big change. It was around 2008, 2009 when they brought out the Soul, and this is the car that changed the fortunes of the company. The Soul, revolutionary type of car. Kia is now doing something else revolutionary. They are showing you that the wool has been pulled over your eyes for luxury, and they have a new K900, which is a full-size luxury vehicle. Tops out around $68,000. And joining us on the phone is Eddie from Kia. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm very good. So tell me a little bit about this brand new Kia K900 that you have.
Yeah, well, the K900 is a full-size premium luxury vehicle. It's designed to compete with some of the larger premium vehicles out there like a Lexus LS or BMW 7 Series, and it competes with them in all different aspects. So it's a big car for us, it's a big car for the industry, and also what it will do for our brand and take it to our next step from there.
So were you guys just sitting around at Kia one day at like a brainstorming meeting, and you're like, you know what? I'm tired of Lexus. I'm tired of BMW. We're going for the throat. We're doing it right now. The K900, we're done. We're on it. We don't want any more Lexus or BMW. This is stupid. K900, here we go. Is that how it happened? Please just tell me that's how it happened.
Almost. Well, competition is good for everybody, and obviously, we offer something different than what Lexus and other manufacturers offer. It's the way we do luxury. Perhaps a customer that's not so concerned with the brand in front of the vehicle, but people's habits are fundamentally changing, especially after the Great Recession a few years ago. Looking for customers that are not confined necessarily to traditional definitions of luxury that are well established out there.
It's really an interesting idea for me because Kia is not a luxury brand. So what makes you guys think that people are going to be accepting of this full-size luxury car?
We're competitive in every single aspect of the luxury vehicles out there. And although we don't share our sales projection volume, we are, have a modest goal. But the idea is not just about sales, and how we define success is what it does to the brand. And we have done extensive research, and there is an absolute lift to the entire brand. From the Rio all the way to Cadenza, everything is lifted with the introduction of this vehicle. And also from a retail level, we are fundamentally changing our dealer network. And to get a K900, you have to be an exclusive K900 dealer in order to sell and service this vehicle. So it improves our brand, as well as our perception of the vehicle, and our strengthening our retail network as well.
I will tell you that Sean and I did join you guys, obviously, in Newport Beach, in Pelican Hill, and drove the car. And I was very remarkably impressed by the vehicle. First of all, the quality of the materials. And I think Kia's really a quality brand. I've noticed the interiors are very, very well put together. I mean, the whole car's well put together, but the quality of materials was great. And the first thing that I was expecting was performance might be an issue. It definitely isn't an issue because you guys have a giant engine in this car, don't you?
That's right. 5 liters, gasoline direct injected V8, producing 420 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. What that means is it's got a lot of power at all speed ranges and puts it at 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Remember, this is a very big vehicle for us, and it's launching a car this size in under 6 seconds is certainly a testament to the engineering and how powerful and strong this vehicle is.
And you've done a couple of things to make sure that people find it easy to get into the vehicle. First of all, you're offering some sort of maintenance program with it, aren't you, if you buy a new K900?
That's right. You purchase or lease a K900, you get a 3-year complimentary maintenance program, which could save you thousands of dollars over the course of the time.
And also really offering it for a decent price as well. Although the V6 is coming, it's not available yet. The V8, if you top it out, the price is incredible, isn't it?
$59,500 for the luxury V8. Add the VIP package, you're at $65,400. That's all in. You have to add D&H on top of that. But it's unsurpassed levels of standard equipment on the V8, including Napa leather, panoramic sunroof, and those cool LED headlamps, which are thousands of dollars in some of our competitors.
Right, and I noticed those, and they mimic real daylight, and they turn with the wheels.
That's exactly right.
What?
LED light.
Yeah, I mean they mimic daylight. So when you look at them, they actually have the same tone as daylight. Which is I think excellent. But I don't know how to explain them. But you should go on to testmiles.com and look at the video of the K900. But there's sort of 4 LED lights in each bank, and as you turn the wheels, the lights follow the wheels to illuminate the road as you're going around the corner.
Does this take us back to the? Is this the Tucker? Does this go back to that?
Yeah, this is a lot more advanced than the Tucker, but I think they've done
no center headlight there.
Yeah. I think, yeah, exactly. I think they've done, and plus the Tuckers now, I think, go for about $250,000 and up. So
yeah, this is, I mean, an unbelievable value at $60,000. You're competing with vehicles that are $85,000 and $90,000.
Right. So when I worked it out, Eddie, I worked out a comparably equipped BMW about the same with all the same extras in there is going to be about $20,000 more.
That's exactly right, and you get a longer warranty on top of that as well with the Kia K900.
So the actual warranty is 10 years, 100,000 miles is on every Kia. Is that right?
That's right. That's a powertrain. The basic warranty is 5 years, 60,000 bumper to bumper. So it's a really comprehensive warranty in this vehicle.
Now, here's a good question for you. Is every Kia dealer going to be selling this vehicle?
Great question. Our K900 retail network is specifically limited to about 230 dealerships at the onset. We'll be expanding that through our network as time moves on, and out of our around 750 dealers nationwide. So to be a K900 dealership, you have to meet certain signage requirements and take a advanced levels of training, not necessarily product training, but also customer training. So it's a little bit different experience at the K900 dealerships.
Will we have someone in the Northwest that will be able to sell me a K900 if I want one?
There will be several in the Northwest, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Eddie, thanks for joining us this morning and telling us a little bit about the K900. New from Kia, you can also go to testmiles.com, see our video review that aired on several stations around the country, and also go to kia.com if you want to build one for yourself. When is it in showrooms?
Should be in showrooms within the next few weeks.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that you can go there and build your own K900 as well?
Well, what I'm saying is build it that you can choose any of the option packages.
We're not putting you on the production line.
Yeah, and there's nothing that we want you anywhere close to where they build these.
We're not giving you tools.
Yeah, I shouldn't be allowed at all to do anything with a car. But so Eddie, what you're saying is if I threw enough money at Kia's face, would I be able to get what I wanted as far as like a paint job, rims, stereo, that kind of stuff?
Well, you can put any accessories you want on my vehicle, but there's 2 ways to order the K900 V8. There's the luxury and the VIP package. Competitors have hundreds of ways. We want to give you as much value and features at reasonable levels where competitors may nickel and dime you for everything.
Yeah, they don't. This is finally you don't have to option the car out. I always found that, and I love that about Kia. Is you go to the website and you can order A, and you can order B, or you can order C. Whereas everyone else, it's sort of here's the basic car, and now there's 500 things you can add to the car, which push the options up by $20,000.
I like it.
Are there any plans for a long wheelbase at some point?
This is a long wheelbase.
Oh, it is the long wheelbase.
It's almost 120 inches long.
Oh, fantastic.
Right. So it has more interior room than a 7 Series and A8, as well as a Lexus LS.
And Michael Sprague, he told us that this is one of the best cars to kiss in because it has a rear recliner and a massager in the back.
Yeah, that's right. Take that, Lexus.
Yeah, it's a great car. Eddie, thanks so much for being here this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll talk to you real soon. You're listening to Test Miles. If you want an encore of this week's show, you can go to testmiles.com.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles. Vehicular entertainment. Test Miles with Nick Miles.
Into lap 4 of the show this morning on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles, and in the studio with us, Sean, Brad, and our producer, Andrew. And we are talking cars this morning. Daytona going on right now, Sean.
Daytona is going on, and you should be listening to us and then turn in to watch it, but it's like the Super Bowl of NASCAR, our stock cars.
And how are we doing? Our local boy isn't doing so well from Vancouver, right?
I don't know what Biffle's actually placed right now.
Brad, did you say there was 42?
He was, I think, 42 out of 43 left or something like that.
Wait a minute. There's a guy from Vancouver in NASCAR.
No, well, in Daytona.
That makes so much sense. So much.
It's just
you do realize that
one.
Brad and Sean are both from Vancouver originally, right?
Just embrace it, Vantucky. Finally.
If I had more money, I'd race.
Yeah.
After the last election with the pot thing, we now call it Vansterdam.
Amsterdam.
There you go.
I still think that more people should have realized that the two finalists in the Super Bowl this year, the Super Bowl, were states where pot was legal.
Yeah. How coincident is that?
Yeah, it's very strange. So the race starts at what time this morning? It'll start after our show. There you go.
Yes, it'll
Yeah,
start. So tune in afterwards.
They programmed it that way because they knew everyone had to listen to us first to get ready for the show, and then now it's Super Bowl and Vancouver's in it.
All right, there you go. Brad, what have you been driving this week?
Well, I feel like it's Kia talk all day long, but I've been in the Kia Sorento, and I had the bigger Mac Daddy of the Kias, so it was a $42,000 Kia Sorento, which is the midsize SUV. So I had the LX.
Third row, right?
Third row.
Yeah. How does I'm about to do a story for Morning News, for Fox Morning News on third rows and whether they make sense. So what's your take on it?
I spent the entire time with the third row seat folded down with boxes and bags in the back. So used it very, very little.
I know that the Range Rover Sport that has the third row, the quote that I always use was, "It's not really there for traveling in, but it's great to bring someone back from the pub in it."
Oh, that friend, go lay down in the back.
Yeah. Although I think there's a lot of room in the back of this.
There's enough. I did some driving for some people coming back from a pub, shockingly. The worst part was the panoramic big sunroof that opens way up, because there's a lot of woo-woos going on from the back third row seat that you can't control.
All right. And you like it, right?
It's fantastic. It's, I think, head and shoulders over the RAV4, maybe the Edge. So those are the competitors.
I do. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Korean brands. I think the hot car brands right now out there are Korean and domestic. Those are what everyone's hot on, and there are great reliability for the Japanese and the German brands, but definitely the hot brands are the Korean brands right now.
A lot of what we talked about with the K900, you get so much for the money with all the features inside.
Now, we also have another friend of ours in the studio. Oli used to be on another radio station with us years and years ago. And I sort of put this out here and said, like, Andrew doesn't have a driver's license, and we need to get him a driver's. We've been talking about it for 7-8 weeks now.
Yeah.
And Oli actually stepped up and said he may be able to find us a manual car. First of all, welcome to Test Miles.
Thank you for having me.
And you think you may be able to help us find a manual car to teach this boy to drive?
I have a hot lead on a manual car that we can use to.
Wait, you're shaking your head, Andrew. What's going on?
No, I just like that it really does take a village to raise an idiot, because it takes this whole like Portland community. We had to call in Oli, we had to call in friends from old radio days. We have to call in favors. Like Portland has to shut down for me to learn how to drive.
I don't know if it's a village. It's just more of like a neighborhood.
Yeah, see? Yeah, I need help with life apparently, and I need help with this.
How old are you?
32, Nick.
And have you ever been behind the wheel of a car?
3 times. One time I almost died. The second time it was a little closer to dying. And the third time I got out after I turned the corner because I had an anxiety attack. There was cars parked on the side of the road and I freaked out.
Andrew, awesome. Are you willing to let us teach you to drive?
Yeah, I want to learn. I mean, I'm 32 and I don't know. I got my max ticket ready to go. It's stupid.
We can learn you.
I'd like to think I'm relatively smart and I should be able to figure out, but now I've developed almost a complex because, since 16, basically 16 years I've just been in the passenger side.
Now we need violin music or something, because it's going to start to get really sad.
And I haven't driven, and I'm 32.
All right, so
sad.
are you willing to drive a manual? With a manual, you have to push the clutch in and then
so
change
much extra.
gear. I know, it's not just pushing the gas and the brake.
I've been told, though, you're not a man if you don't know how to do a manual, so I have
Maybe
to
just
to
have referred to you, not to people in general.
Ah.
The other thing that you have to remember is you have to use the same foot for the gas and the brake.
What?
You can practice. I think there's a lot of video games out there. You can kind of get an idea of shift points.
I'm so
something
good
to
at Need for
start
Speed.
with before we transition into the introduction of having a clutch.
I'm so good at Need for
He's
Speed.
good at running from the cops.
Yeah.
And if you go into the wall in Need for Speed, the consequences are a vibrating hand. Whereas if it happens in real life, the consequences are a little more serious, my friend.
You just don't get to restart?
No,
No,
there's no
that's-
reset button. You can't go. Only we're gonna plan on trying to do this maybe this week or next weekend, and get you to learn to drive. We also have friends coming in next week that may help us with it. Art Smith is going to be here on next week's show from Tonkin Gran Turismo, and he's the guy that you get the Maseratis and Ferraris and luxury cars from.
Yeah, definitely. I should have a test drive car from Ron Tonkin.
More at testmiles.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. on FM News 101.
This is Test Miles with automotive expert Nick Miles.